on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
You guys got me out of my sleep for this mess. Somebody sent me these videos, man. I already had these videos, but I was in the bathroom doing my thing, and I said, man, I gotta say something about this. I don't care if it is 3:41 a.m., but we're gonna get into this thing, man. Welcome to the Bobby Brown Show on the go. I'm your humble host, Bobby Bob TV Brown. I'm still asleep, man. Y'all got me out of my bed for this stuff, man. Old Dem Shaddy right here, in his efforts to protect his girl. I don't know who's his girl, Crystal Ball or Marion Williamson. He fight more hard for Marion Williamson than Crystal Ball. Now I don't know how hard he will fight for her, but man, he going in for Marion Williamson. I'm like, is that your chick, Doc? You act like that's your girl, man. Come on, Dem Shaddy. You can't be doing all that stuff. So we're going to get into some passing review of what I call the Just Us Democrat show. There's Marion Williamson, Kyle Kalinske, and his girl, Crystal Ball. And then occasionally you get some guest people like Mike Figueroa, and David Doyle and TYT and all these other nutcases, and then you got the people over there with the Majority Report and all that. These are all a part of the Just Us Democrat show. They gonna live and die Democrat, just like old Southern black people gonna live and die to be a Baptist. There's no breakaway. Not understanding that there's more outside. You got to get out of your little hometown, bro. But let's get into it. Some passing review. Let's go.
Guys, got some big breaking news for you. The White House has now officially responded to Marianne Williamson launching a primary campaign against Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination. Now, before I play the video for you, here's what they could have said and what they should have said.
What could have, should have.
We live in a democracy. We welcome Marianne Williamson to the race. We're going to have a healthy exchange of different ideas, policies, and philosophies. But
Cal is so protective. Cal knows that Cal is not a newcomer to this game of politics. It don't go that way, man. It would never go that way. It's never a cordial thing. Eventually it'll start off cordial, but it's going to get ugly and nasty. Because at the end of the game, you have to define your opponent. You have to define, as a contender, you got to define the guy that you're fighting against. You got to make them look like they're unfit for this position. And you can't be cordial about that, man.
But at the end of the day, we're very confident that ours will win out. That would have been a classy response. That would have been an intelligent response. That would have been a fair response.
But it don't go that way, bro.
But of course, instead of going in that direction, they went in the direction of smug condescension and derision and disrespect. Let's listen.
Is the president annoyed, frustrated with Marianne Williamson for jumping in the race ahead of him? Did he want a clear field to run against the Republican nominee in 2020?
She's spiritual.
All right, so we've been through all this. Kyle marked the guy, said, oh, she's spiritual, and they down-talked them, saying, the nerves of you guys, you got the nerves to be talking about somebody. At least she got some kind of handle. How do you know these people don't have some kind of handle? It's not about, oh, let me keep going. Oh, Jesus, I got to deal with this crap.
Idiot, clown, is religious. Joe Biden himself is a Catholic. We just had Ash Wednesday the other day. He was walking around with black ashes on his forehead in the shape of a cross. I mean, just broadcasting to the world that he's a member of a cult, of a particular religious sect. If you tell me, as somebody who's an atheist and non-religious...
See, what Cal is doing is he manufactured consent. Now, I'm not a Joe Biden fan, as you know. I'm not a Joe Biden fan. But Cal is he's trying to define his opponent to be worse than Marianne Williamson. And Marianne Williamson got to be the greatest thing since sliced apple pie with French vanilla on top of it, with a cherry on top of it, with some caramel on top of that, blah, 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 blah. That's Kyle Kalinske. He is going to try to dark horse Joe Biden, and he's dark horse. I mean, I don't even like the word dark horse because it's so racist, He's going to smear As they're smearing Marianne Williamson, he's smearing Joe Biden. And the thing is, it can't be a smear when it's all true, dude. It can't be a smear when it's all true. Yeah, Joe Biden's a Catholic. He's not a religious Catholic. He's one of those Johnny come when something big is happening. I come to mass. I get on my knees and pray, and I come on Ash Wednesday. I'll come on Easter. I'll come on Thanksgiving. I'll come on Christmas Day. I'll come to church. He's one of these whenever I can get to a type of Catholic. So you can't label him independent, call him part of the cult, and not say Marianne Williamson is not part of a cult. Because there's people like you, Cal, that think anybody who prays to a sky god is part of a cult. Now, don't get me wrong, man. Some of the teachings of Marianne Williamson, I can rock with them, but you got to practice what you teach. And we're going to get in that a little later on.
And not spiritual, to say which is more reasonable, Marianne Williamson's secular spirituality or Joe Biden's Catholicism. Every single day of the week, I'm going with Marianne Williamson's.
That's your own personal opinion. What Cal is trying to do is he's trying to tell you there's a choice you got to make. And every time he get on the microphone, he's going to say there's a choice you got to make. And I'm telling you, you don't even have to choose neither one of them. Whatever choice it is, it's your choice. He's telling you there's a choice you need to make, and I'm telling you this is the choice you need to make. And why? He's trying to sell you his brass ring. He's trying to sell you his Letterman jacket. He's in desperate times right now, and they got to get somebody down lost it with their their hero, their icon. Bernie Sanders is gone. Nina Turner been beat to the Pope where she has no name recognition no more when it comes to running for office. So he's got to go with Marianne Williamson, and it's gonna fail. And he's in denial.
Spirituality. That is way more logical. There's way more reason to go down that path than there is to be part of any particular religious sect or ideology.
See what I mean? He's covering up for her, man. I'm not even gonna keep going in that. All right, so she clapped back. He did a report on it. He was so happy that she clapped back. The reason she clapped back against the White House is because 9 times out of 10, Cal advised her. Cal is her political advisor, whether you like it or not. She's not going to tell you her political advisor because she'll probably give you a front man for a political advisor, but Cal is her political advisor. I'm telling you, Cal and Crystal is advising her, and as a result of him saying you need to get in the front of this thing, this is what happened.
With Roseanne Barr, and they had using this aggression and this wit and direct the hammer. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the other day we discussed the White House reacted to Marianne Williamson's presidential campaign, and suffice to say, it was the textbook definition of smugness and condescension. So just to remind everybody, so Marianne Williamson.
So he's trying to say everybody's smug. Marianne Williamson is not smug. She's not condescending. Everybody else, anybody who attacks her is out of pocket, out of order, cocky, arrogant, smugness. If anybody attack my little daughter, you're arrogant, you're cocky, you're smugged. If you make up stuff, even if it's true, I'm going to come at you. You don't talk about my girl like that. That's my girl. That's not my girl. I mean, that's not your girl. That's my girl. And, she can be your girl. We can pass around. She can be your girl. But look, at the end of the day, I'm going to protect her at all costs. Why? Because if we don't get a win, I'm going to look like a god doggone fool.
Williamson responded. We're going to get to that in just a second, but I just want to remind everybody what the White House said. Here's what Karine Jean-Pierre laid out.
Mr. President, annoyed, frustrated.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Karine Jean-Pierre fan. She's entitled. People held her as the first African-American gay press secretary. But, and to me, that's a mock to foundational Black Americans because we've been trying to get one of our own to be the president. We've been trying to get our own. I'm talking about from the soil, from the root, to actually identify all the way back to the roots of slavery. Obama don't identify with us. Hillary, Kamala Harris don't identify with us, and Pierre doesn't identify her. She's Haitian immigrant. Kamala Harris is half Asian, half Scotch, a quarter Scotch Irish, and maybe a quarter black, or maybe a quarter a Hindu. But her great great grandfather was a slave owner in Jamaica. He's from Ireland. Barack Obama, daddy's from Kenya, his mama from Kansas, so he has no, So I'm not a fan of Kareem John Pierre, but I'm here to really expose what Kyle is doing. And he's going to get in front of this, and tell Marion get in front of this, because he want her to show herself to be a strong leader, and she's not. She's just as tender, soft, and on the edge, and get her feelings hurt more than anybody.
With Marion Williamson for jumping in the race ahead of him, did he want a clear field to run against the Republican nominee in 2024?
Just not tracking that. I mean, if I had a what is it called, a little globe here, crystal ball, then I can tell you. But I imagine 8-ball, whatever. If I can feel her aura.
Look at Cal's face. Look, people gonna make stuff on you, make stuff up on you. That's the name of the game. They're not going to be truthful about you. People do that all the time, Kyle. People going to lie on you. And then and it's up to you to show them the truth, And people going to lie on her, and it's up for you to show her the truth. But a lot of that stuff they talking about, she's rocked in that area. May not have been in the crystal ball. Nobody does crystal balls. That's usually what they used to say gypsies do. I don't know if that's true with gypsies. I don't want to throw gypsies on the bus, but we used to see that all the time when it come to gypsies and crystal balls. It wasn't hippies and crystal balls. It was gypsies and crystal balls. But look at Kyle's face, man. He don't like it, man. He don't like it.
I just don't have anything to share on that.
And they laughing.
Gosh,
and
you
she
guys
about
are
to
making me
cry.
laugh now.
Is the president?
So there you go. We discussed this previously. Bottom line is,
girl, you can't laugh at nobody when your doggone the man you work for is one of the most brutal, racist, bigots of all times. All times. One of the biggest legislative pushing anti-black policy makers in Capitol Hill, almost in history. He ran with the best of the races. He grew up. He was groomed and trained by them. Don't let him have you thinking that, oh, he's a fighter for black people. Get out of here. He talk about you like a dog.
massively hypocritical. 70% of the country is Christian. A higher percentage than that is religious. Joe Biden himself is a Catholic. We're talking about somebody who's in a religion that pretends to...
Here you go. Here we go. He's going to throw a whole religion in the bus just to describe how nutso Joe Biden is. Joe Biden is not a religious guy. Joe Biden is not a guy that's 100% a born-againer, a soul into the faith, one that loves, so in love with Jesus that he has to tell the world about him. You ain't never heard him talk about the Lord. You ain't never hear him talk about God. You ain't never hear talk about faith and religion. You'll never hear him talk about how God brought him through. At least you got a little bit of that with George Bush, but you'll never hear him talking about trials and tribulation and his personal time with God and what God revealed to him. You'll never hear them, but you can hear Marianne Williamson talk about that. And you got the nerve to call him a cult leader, and he probably is. Because the Roman Catholic religion is so deep in mysticism and occultism, but so is Marianne Williamson. She's deep into mysticism and occultism. Look at the word mysticism, Kyle. Look at the word occultism.
To eat the body and blood of Christ. We just had Ash Wednesday, and he was walking around with black ashes on his forehead in the shape of a cross.
How many times are you going to say
Let's not
that?
pretend like, your hands are clean or Americans' hands are clean in the sense that they don't.
This ain't got nothing to do with Joe Biden. She said this. You attack her. Where's your talk about her? And the people in the audience, they the one laughed at her. Joe Biden ain't got nothing to do with this. And I'm not kidding for Joe Biden, but he don't have nothing. This is what she did, what Pierre did, and how they laughed. So your beef is with her and them. Oh, she represents Joe Biden. This could be her own personal opinion, her own come up, her own dig at Marianne Williamson. So you go talk to her, bring up her religion. You bring up the people in the audience religion. At the end of the day, religion ain't got nothing to do with it. It's who you are in here. Let me hurry up. Y'all got me
We don't
out of
have
bed.
certain spiritual beliefs. And as I said the other day, if anything, I think Marianne Williamson's approach to spirituality is much more logical than being in any particular.
I wonder how many books Cal have read of Marianne Williamson. I wonder how many seminar teachings have she done, because she's not a pastor of a church. She don't have a church. Her message costs money. You know, her advising costs money.
Religious group. Any variety of theism makes claims about reality that are demonstrably untrue, whereas Marianne is just a secular spiritualist, and so she kind of, contemplates.
You're making up that word so you can get secular people who are on your side to buy into Marianne Williamson. She is not a secular spiritualist. She's a spiritualist. Just a straight spiritualist. She ain't secular, bruh. Stop that. She's just a secular spirit. Oh, she's just, she's just a secular spiritualist. She's not like those other guys, those nutcases, these evangelicals with the white Christian Jesus and prosperity preachers and all. Like, get out of here. She ain't no different. She used it to prosper. She got filthy rich off it, Cal. She used God and faith to get rich. She used God, faith, and spirituality, Kyle, to win over Oprah Winfrey and a whole bunch of Hollywood elites to become their spiritual advisor. And she got big.
The mysteries of the universe, which again, I think is much more rational than saying, I'm with this cult.
See, he's trying to say, hey, they're in a cult. Marianne Williams is not a cult. She's not a cultish. Bruh, stop that. Stop. Don't get me wrong. In every religion, I can find something that's a principle and value that you can walk in. You don't have to be a believer in the entire religion, but that principle, you can take that principle and use it to better your life. Faith-based, period, is like that. You don't have to go to the extreme with that. Joe Biden is not a full-fledged practicing Catholic that eats the body of Jesus and none of that. No. And it's just a cracker or wafer. And it's just a reminder. If you ever took your butt to a church, you will get some understanding instead of going by what you read or going by what somebody told you. Why don't you go learn, get some teaching, and understand what that means, Kyle? It's just a reminder of what Christ did for them, or for me, or for you. It's just a reminder. People do that in remembrance of him. They don't actually think that's his body and that's his blood. People be talking out the crack of their behind, and ain't nothing but SH coming out of their mouth.
So, massively hypocritical. The bottom line is, they're elitist, they're smug, they're condescending.
Just
She's not
like
in the
Marianne
club,
Wilson.
so they just want to
She is in the
swat her
club.
aside. But here we have somebody who's
She is smug. She is elitist. She is in the club. She's more in the club than just about anybody, because she's friend with powerful people. She's friends with Hollywood elite as well as world leaders. She's advised them all. And Cal don't want you to know that, because he got to try to paint her as Bernie Sanders Jr., and she's not.
was running on Medicare for all, free college, a living wage, ending the wars, getting money out of politics.
Everybody's running on that, Kyle. That's the way you win. Everybody will say, I'm running on this just to try to get your vote. Don't mean they're with it. They're only running on it. They're only running on it. Get it? They're running on it. Don't mean they about it. Get in office won't do none of it. Hey, the squad ran on it. Nothing happening with them. So get out of here with that, man. Folks tired of that.
All good, serious policies. And these are insiders who are just status quo tweakers who don't fix the structural underlying problems, but somehow Marianne's not serious and they are. Okay, you guys get the gist of it. So thankfully, Marianne
Williamson is inside as they come. Very, very touchy feeling, very highly offended, very, my thing, look, Marianne Williamson respond to this. You ain't got to respond to every negative thing somebody say to you. When she was with RBN and somebody in the chat was saying something that was against her, she took offense and she was attacking the person in the comment section. Not necessarily attacking, but she was addressing the person in the comment section. Who does that? I'm in the middle of an interview and I see somebody in the chat saying something negative about me. I got to address that person in the chat. Who says that? A narcissist, a elitist, a cocky, arrogant person that's in the club, Kyle. Entitled.
Saw this video and responded, and I think she did a pretty good job. Let's watch.
I was so sad to see the commentary of the President's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, about me, about crystal balls, which I've never spoken or written about, and auras, which I've never spoken or written about, and just speaking so derisively and in such mocking terms about someone who is running for President of the United States. And as a woman, and this is the Democratic Party, I have a constitutional right to run.
I'm so appalled. I'm a woman, and I'm running for President of the United States, so I should be beyond criticism, and I should be beyond ridicule. This is disgusting. Girl, if you don't sit your behind down, I have a constitutional right to run. Yes, you do. Everybody do it their of age. I have a right to be right, but is it right? My mama say, it's right. You got a right to smack him in the mouth, man, but is it the right thing to do? Somebody come in your house, you got a right to blow their head clean off their shoulder, but is it the right thing to do? Just because you have a constitutional right don't mean it's the right thing for you to do, Marion. You're only running because you feel like you're on that level. You feel like you're higher than running for that local office position that you lost to in California.
And my candidacy is about substantive issues and policies. I have made it clear in interview after interview that the president is a nice man and that I have no interest in taking personal.
See, that's the part that pissed me off. Cal, you know this. That's the part that pissed me off. You know, he is not a nice man. She shouldn't be taking a high road. She need to be calling that man out on some of the evil stuff that she did and talking about how she's going to repair it, how he came out with the most horrible crime in the world, and how she's going to trash it, and how she's going to pay restitution for those people who got locked up for some of the dumbest reason. I'm beyond this. I don't want to run a dirty campaign, sound like Bernie Sanders. Oh, no, I've made it very clear that Joe Biden's is a good man. Oh, God, he's so good. Oh, so good. Oh, he killed a lot of black people in the neighborhood in the mid-90s and terrorized the kids and, and separate the homes of black men and women, and made them single parents and single fathers and, get out of here, man.
Pot shots. But apparently the White House, or at least as expressed by Karine, doesn't share my commitment to the high ground. The hypocrisy here is something that all of us can see.
Now, you don't tell me that is smug, arrogance, and cocky. My commitment to the high ground. This is politics, girl. This is running for president. You ain't got time for no, oh my God. Oh my, oh gee, oh God, oh me. Oh, they said that about me. Oh, I'm so offended. Oh, let me get out here and address this. Oh, I think Biden said if one of his staffers say something horrible and negative, they're fired. And that was negative. Well, if you got a crystal ball in your house that nobody don't know about it, it's not lying. And why would she get fired for that? Who said her saying that? Her so-called ridiculing you. Most people don't know if that's not true or not. That's the whole thing of politics. You got to define you have to paint you have to paint your competitor in a negative light, so you can always have the positive edge over them. Obviously, you don't believe that. And if you got a crystal ball at home, anywhere on your dresser, whether you use it or not, it justified the comment, girl.
Because the president has said on his first day in office that anyone in his administration who spoke disrespectfully about anyone would be fired on the spot.
How is that disrespectful? Oh, she disrespect me. She diss me. She's joking, man. She got jokes. Horrible jokes. And she didn't say you had a crystal ball. She said if I had a crystal ball. Implying that you had a crystal ball. But she didn't necessarily say you. That's the one you fly. Joe Biden ain't going to fire that girl. And he shouldn't fire her because she didn't say anything about you. She said, if I had a crystal ball, then I can probably feel your aura. Even though she was implying that's what you was into. She didn't attack you personally and said, well, if I can touch her aura, if I can look in her crystal ball.
Now, I'm not hoping that Karine Jean-Pierre loses her job over this.
She ain't losing
but
it.
I do hope that from now
gonna
on,
apologize.
this low, derisive, this narrative about me just obviously meant to get me out of the conversation. I hope that this path is not pursued. It's not good for any of us. It's not good for America. It's not good for the Democratic Party. People are watching. And I hope that everyone who is...
Girl, this has been going on in the Democratic Party forever. Who are you to be the purveyor of what's good and what's evil in the Democratic Party? It's been going on forever. It's the norm now, girl. You just think you're so uppity and elitist in classes that I've made it clear to me that I don't want to go there. You don't know why you don't want to go there? Because you can't. You ain't got it. You're just like Bernie Sanders. You ain't got it. I can go there, then go. Or go away. Just a simple fact. You spit on every black person in America when you talk about how Joe Biden is so nice, even if they voted for him. I tell a person that voted for Joe Biden, they spit on themselves. They disgrace themselves. Why? Because of the policies that he enacted that were pretty much bigot, racist policies toward black people, or anti-black policies, and you rewarded that man with the position of presidency when you should have been calling them to the carpet in a court for crimes of humanity. That was a crime of humanity what he did to the black community. He's no different from a person that did genocide in another country. And you talking about he's nice. Oh, he's a nice man. I implied that he's nice. So I don't understand why his press secretary would do this to me. Oh my God. Oh, God. Oh, my feelings are hurt. Look how she's just standing there. Look at her. I'm just... Oh... May we do that? May we not do this? Please don't do this again. I'm gonna let you slide, but please, let's take the high road. Get out of here, man. It's a joke. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I'll say this again. I've listened to Marianne Williams' teachings in the past on love. I love her teachings on love. I teach on love. I do. I teach how to love people that's unlovable. Kind of like what she does. That's why I said she need to stay in her lane. Because you ain't going to come in with Kim Jong-un talking about, oh, love and forgive. And man, you talking about stone cold killers in this world. And America got to show themselves soft, tender, and strong at the same time. Oh, we'll heal you, but we'll bust your balls in a minute. So don't test us. We'll love us first, but mess around with us, you'll see we fighters too. And she ain't going to be able to be that person to deliver that message. Joe Biden ain't that person to deliver that message either. God knows. The Republicans are not. I don't know what kind of... Lord, please. We need better. We need better.
Watching realizes this is not just about me. They're not just telling me to get away, like flicker off like a mosquito. It's about you.
See how they trying to... If they do it to me, they did it to you. You ain't Jesus. Jesus said if they did it to the least of them, they did it to me. Are you putting yourself in a godlike position right now, Marianne Williamson? They're not just doing it to me. They're doing it to you. How? That didn't affect me. You act like you got 5 million supporters. They did that to you. You lucky you probably got 5,000. They ain't do that to me. They did that to you. They laughed at you. They didn't talk directly about you, but they did laugh at you. And just get ready, girl. It's going to keep happening. If you're going to be wearing your feelings on the shoulder, this game ain't for you.
It's about anyone who, first of all, I think, has faith and takes faith seriously? Or is it just about any woman who speaks out of turn?
It ain't about no woman.
That's for you to decide. But whichever it is, I hope that we will stop that kind of nonsense. It's not good for any of us.
See? You see her position on how she's talking. She's talking down to people like can you imagine her being a president? She's trying to bring a mother spirit and talk to you that you need to get your act up together, young man. You better get your you need to get it together. All right? This is the only warning I'm going to give you. I hope we don't ever have this problem again, young man. That's the position she's taking right now. I hope we don't have to worry about this ever again, young man. Because if we do what? What you going to do? You ain't going to do nothing. Get out of here. You one of them parents that your child will smack you and you just say, stop, Johnny. See, I come from school of hard knocks. I wish you would raise your hand at my mama. My mama, I'll break that hand before you'll never use it again.
I don't know. That's for you to decide. But whichever it is, I hope that we will stop that kind of nonsense. It's not good for any of us.
I hope that we will stop that kind of nonsense. And he loving it.
I love this response because...
Man, if you don't get your behind out of here, man. Boy, that blonde hair, that bleaching that blonde hair done really, really got in your brain. Either it's the bleaching your blonde hair or it's you being all up in Crystal's balls. Or Crystal got your balls. So him and Crystal goes on TV to talk about this. And boy, I'm telling you, these people, man, these loft liberals, these boutique liberals, you know, these lefties, man, these libtards, man. Let's play it.
So, as we all know, Marianne Williamson's running for president, and you had the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, the press spokesperson, came out and replied when she was asked about it, and she basically was sneering and condescending and smug and was
making the
like,
dumbest, was tired crystal ball.
Let me check my crystal ball or my orb, and let me check her aura and her chakras or whatever the hell.
Let me just say, as someone who is named Crystal Ball and has heard every crystal ball joke.
I thought she was talking about Crystal Ball. Honestly, I didn't think she was talking about an actual girl. I think she was using a double entendre. Slim Dem Shaddy over here should understand about double entendres that one word can mean multiple things, lyrically speaking. So that's what I was thinking she was saying. But old Slim Shady over here, Dem Shaddy, Kyle Kalinske, is upset because the White House was joking on their girl.
That has ever been crafted, none of them are funny, guys. I can promise you. Not a one of them is actually amusing.
Oh, they're funny.
So, and certainly not this one. That's for sure.
Yes.
So,
oh, it's not funny to you because your name Crystal Ball. I can see why you take a person, but it's funny to the person on the other end. If your name was Harry Dick, I'm joking you all day. I didn't name you Harry Dick. That's your mama did that. Oh, the whole hood call you Dirty Dick, man. There's a restaurant in Virginia Beach called Dirty Dick Crabs. And the t-shirt you get to eat, you leave with a t-shirt say, I got my crabs from Dirty Dicks.
Anyway, it was very smug, and the reaction that I've seen, granted I run in more lefty circles, but the reaction that I've seen has been like, screw you guys, man. You're so snotty.
You don't run in lefty circles. You run in straight Democratic circle, Kyle. You're a millionaire Democrat now. You're an elitist that's trying to take an elitist and have that elitist look like a populist that cares about working people. Man, get the out of here with that bull crap.
She's running on issues. She never took any low blows at anybody. What do you do? And then there's the hypocrisy that Joe Biden's a Catholic, okay? He eats the body of Christ.
Here you go with this crap again. He's going to keep saying this stuff over and over again. I'm telling you people, don't buy that crap. He don't eat the body of Christ. He's a Catholic, and Catholics, they take the wafer, they break it and eat it and drink wine as a remembrance of what Christ did for them during the trial and the death, burial, and resurrection. That's all it is. He don't think he actually eat. Now, well, Catholics probably believe that for real. But most people who do communion and stuff like that, it just remind them of what, it's just a reminder of the depths that he went through to offer you a better life. That's if you believe that. Some people don't believe that, and to each his own. But Cal, that's all he can do. This guy's something else. And look at her. That's my man. Tell him, baby. Tell him. Leave our girl alone.
Christ and drinks the blood of Christ and walks around with ashes on his forehead.
Ashes on. He don't walks around with no ashes on his forehead. It's a lot of people. I live in New York. Ash Wednesday is, I think, a yearly event. They do that once a year. Walk around with a cross on their face. And yeah, it look funny. But that's people religion. And he's sitting up here mocking people religion. But he get mad because somebody mocking Marianne Williamson. He's no different from them.
Who we kid? Really? Right. We're going to talk about Marianne being so... Right. And we care about democracy shtick, which is clearly you don't.
Right.
Now you got somebody in the race and you'll probably bend over backwards not to debate.
Who said they care about democracy?
They've already said they don't want to debate her.
So there we go. So,
and rigged the order of the states and all of that.
It's unbelievable. So anyway, in step, The View. And The View wanted to comment on this exact story that we just commented on. And let's just say, didn't go in a very good direction. We'll watch and then we'll react.
For y'all.
Should Jean-Pierre have made the joke about Williamson?
Yeah, I think so. I got to tell you, when she was first, in the realm of the election, I thought she was an interesting character. I mean, Oprah brought us to her as her spiritual guru, and I was buying all into the mind, body, spirit, and stuff. And I was like, this world needs to heal. But then she said some stuff.
Yeah.
Some stuff. Then she said, sickness is an illusion and does not exist, and that cancer and AIDS and other physical illnesses are physical manifestations of a psychic scream. My uncle died of AIDS. It didn't look like a physical manifestation of a psychic scream. It looked like a disease that he died from.
Now, let's address this. Let's pocket this for a second. In the area of faith healing, you don't ignore the symptoms. And the circle I come from, we call it the natural. We realize that you're dealing with an ailment, but we tell you that we still tell you to take your medication. Nobody that's really of faith will tell you not to listen to your doctor. Nobody of faith will really tell you it's just a figment of your imagination. Nobody of faith will tell you just ignore the pain and the ailment, because you can't do that. What a person of faith will tell you that despite it all, keep believing God for your healing. Stand for your healing and thank God for your healing. Even though you're dealing with it physically, trust that God is gonna heal you from this. Just stand and receive the healing of God. They don't say no stupid stuff like Marion Williamson. They say, "Man, just keep believing, thanking God for your healing, man. Lord, I thank you for my healing." Because your scriptures say you bore all my sicknesses when you went to the cross. All my sicknesses, all my disease, you bore it. So this thing that's in me shouldn't be in me. So that's not ignoring. You recognizing, but you saying, I shouldn't have to go through this. And this thing was taken care of by you. So I thank you for doing what you can to help me get through this thing healed. My ultimate goal is healing. I may not feel healed. I may not smell healed. I may not be healed physically. But my goal is I believe, I receive it, and I'm waiting for the manifestation of it. I thank you for the manifestation in advance. In advance. That's how most religions are that's in that circle when it comes to trusting faith when it comes to your ailment. Who go around and tell you it's a figment of your imagination? Now, I don't know if she say that because we don't have no audio or nothing like that. This is what's been reported, I guess. And it's been reported. We're going to talk about it another day, but it's been reported during the AIDS crisis when she was ministering to people with AIDS. She come from that Hollywood community where it was a horrible thing back then.
And so she also said that people can will themselves back to health. My in-laws who died of COVID, I'm sure they would have liked to have done that, but they couldn't. And she apologized for casting doubt on clinical depression, calling it a scam. So now I'm not feeling her crystals and her aura.
She's helped and angered a lot of people. She's
well, nobody says that she has crystal. There's no evidence of her having crystals and all that kind of stuff. Aura is just anyway. These people are just taking it too far.
A wellness, what we would now call a wellness guru. Yeah. You know, I don't think people really take what she has been standing for seriously. Yeah. And so she's going to have to work a little harder so that people don't have that idea about it. Because, you know, when you talk about yourself as a wellness guru and people have an idea of who you are, it's up to you to change that. The change you were trying to do hasn't fully come out. People have not seen that change. So if you want to change how people see you and think about you, you have to work a little bit harder, Marianne.
And I agree with that. I know Cal don't agree with that, but you have to work hard because most people don't know who you are. That's why I say it's important that you stay in your lane and finish and finish your race in that. Stay in your lane. I'm not trying to run for president, and I wish I can get paid for teaching on love and loving people unconditionally and trusting God when it comes to bettering your health, as well as the doctors, as well as medication. Not just trust God, don't listen to the doctor, don't take no medication. That's dumb. Trust God as you take your medicine, as you go see your doctor. Most people don't know that about you. All they know is that you have been spiritual advisor And when you say spiritual advisor, the first thing that comes to mind is spiritual guru. And when you say spiritual guru, the first thing you're gonna think of is Michael Myers, Mike, what's his name? Mike Myers, the actor from Saturday Night Live when he played the love guru. They see you like that. And it's up to you to show them that you're not that. And right now, that's all people see running for president. And when you stand on a debate stage and say, I see what you're doing, Trump, you're using hate. I'm going to win with love. You don't go somewhere with that mess.
So before we react, let me give you, Marianne clapped back on Twitter, and she said the following. Who is more serious about illness, the candidate who calls for universal health care or a president willing to tolerate 68,000 Americans dying from lack of health care each year and saying he would veto Medicare for all if it came to his desk? I know where I was during the AIDS epidemic, holding the hands of scores of victims while they died, donating and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them, and founding an organization that has served 14 million meals to homebound patients. Whoopi, you said I have to, quote, work harder to correct the record. I would be glad to come on The View to correct the record, to correct the categorically false narratives that continue to be spewed about what I stand for and who I stand with. Now, I should also add that nearly...
Well, let's see if that's going to happen. And people tell you they've done things, but they got to bring receipts. So I look forward to you bringing your receipts about all the millions of people that you help feed. Because my donation is part of an organization to feed. I donate to food organizations all the time. So I can say I feed millions, but I literally didn't feed millions. So bring your receipts when it comes to all that stuff. At the end of the day, Whoopi is still right. Most people don't know you, so they don't know your track record. They don't know. You need to show people your track record. You need to come with receipts. You can't just say, I am for. That ain't working no more. You need to say, I've done. So since you say you've done all these things, bring it to the table. Let's talk about it. Stop being about it.
Every reply, The View tweeted that segment,
right,
as if like they're proud of it,
right?
And nearly every reply even from View fans was like, "This is totally unfair."
Yes.
Now, here's the thing: they seem to be arguing that Mary.
Did they say that? Did View fans say that is totally unfair? See, Kyle say a lot of things, and a lot of times he be lying out his teeth, but it seemed like true because you guys trusted Kyle. And he tell you anything, and you assume, well, Kyle is right, instead of tracking to see what he said. I don't want you to believe anything I said, even when it came to me and my pastor at my church said, look, I don't want you to just take my word for it. You better dig in there for yourself. I could be telling you anything. And if I'm wrong, you come correct me. I ain't got no problem. I'm still learning like you are.
Marianne Williamson is against taking any and all medicine, and she thinks you can heal any and all illness with your own mind. That's a pretty bold thing to assert that somebody believes. They could have invited her on to ask her, correct, but then they...
She said it in her messages, dude. Cal, have you ever listened to any of her messages? Have you read any of her books? Now, I'm not a big reader of her books, but I've seen her videos all on YouTube, people. You can go look at it.
They know that they wouldn't get away with the smear, because she would have laughed that point out of the room and been like, of course I don't believe that.
Correct. Yes. Listen, you can see...
How you know she would say, of course I don't believe that when if she said it. And I don't doubt that she didn't say it, because that's how a lot of people in the faith-based world talk. They say a lot of your problems are up here and in here. And a broken here and a broken here ushers in sickness and diseases. And you can't get rid of something as long as this and this is broken. You got to fix this and this. A lot of them talk like that. So don't think it's far-fetched, Kyle. You need to do your digging on your girl. And you don't stop trying to talk for her when you really don't know her. Stop assuming you know everything about Marianne Williamson. You don't. Hey, that's your girl right there. You don't know everything about her. You ain't probably the first.
See how hollow and bad faith their approach is here, by the fact that they don't actually bring up a single one of her issue positions. Instead, everything is, and Sunny's literally reading off a paper of talking points there. Let me take as many quotes as I can out of context to smear and dismiss her as a human being. So I don't.
How do we know that, Crystal? Do you have the actual words that were spoken? Can you prove it was out of context? Do you have receipts? So you guys will sit there and say, they're lying, they're lying, they're lying, they're taking out of context, they're smearing her and stuff like that. Well, can you counter it? What receipts do you have other than you just trying to say they're lying, don't listen to her? And look, I'd rather have her this way than Joe Biden that way. That's all you got.
Don't even have to deal with any of her actual policy positions and platform and what she is saying and talking about. And so, yes, it'd be very inconvenient.
They don't need to talk about her platform. She has to come on there and talk about her platform. All they need to do is talk about what they know concerning her record. I talk about what I know concerning her record. That's why I say she's just as elitist as they come. She's just as cocky, arrogant, and condescending as they come. She's a Hollywood elitist. She's a spiritual guru, whatever you guru, advisor, it's the same thing to the stars and to people of power, including the Clintons. But you don't want to talk about that. You want to sit there and lie to us that she's an outsider and she don't dwell in those circles and she's against those people. No, those are her biggest clients. Get out of here.
Convenient to actually have Marianne there and have to engage with her because, first of all, she could disabuse them immediately of all of the fake nonsense that they're spewing about who she is and what she said and what she's done in her life. And number two, they wouldn't be able to avoid having discussion about how her issue positions, especially on the issue of healthcare, are vastly superior than Joe Biden's. I think they said at one point there was a part that we didn't play here. They're talking about how her views are dangerous. Okay. Joe Biden said he would veto Medicare for all. As she points out, 68,000 people a year die from lack of health care.
And the squad said, look, you ain't going to force me to vote for Medicare for all. We need to worry about $15 an hour minimum wage. We need to save that for another day. The typical lefty, modern, liberal talking points. It's typical. If DR said that when black people were trying to get him to push on equal rights, he told them to wait. Martin Luther King said they told him to wait.
And she's the one that is dangerous when she stands in favor of universal health care. So it was just par for the course. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's still just disgusting to see the way they will so casually smear someone in service of protecting what is fundamentally an absolutely immoral status quo.
Marianne Williamson has already told us that she would sign an executive order on day one in office to lower the price of all prescription drugs, which, by the way, she has the authority to do already under the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980.
Then Joe Biden,
because any...
Then Joe Biden lowered it. Then Trump lowered it. Everybody talking about lowering prescription drugs. Why you should be paying? Most countries don't pay for prescription drugs. She's talking the same talk that any other Democrat talk. We're going to lower it.
Money that the U.S. government uses, like taxpayer money that's used to create medicine.
To fund research, yeah.
To fund research. The government is then allowed to basically do price controls on that because we paid for it. So she said, I'll sign an executive order to, lower the cost of all the drugs. Joe Biden was only able to lower, and he didn't do it through executive order, by the way, which he could have, but he chose not to. He did it through the IRA only for some prescription drugs and only for seniors. So you want to have a conversation about anti-medicine? I mean, really, I really think the debate ending point is that first point that Marianne laid out here, which is like, how dare you call me anti-medicine when I'm in favor of Medicare for all and he's against it? And we're talking about 68,000 people who die every year from not having access to basic.
And they act like Joe said these things. Joe ain't never said nothing about no Marianne Williamson. They're trying to make everybody's anti-Marianne Williamson sentiment Joe Biden's sentiment. No, that's their own personal sentiment. Kyle. I am anti-Marianne Williamson running for office. I am pro-Marianne Williamson staying in her lane as a teacher. Everybody that's against Marianne Williamson is not for Joe Biden. I'm against Joe Biden. I'm against Marianne Williamson. I ain't got to pick none of the two. And there's thousands and millions of Americans that ain't got to pick for either one of them. She's cocky, arrogant, condescending. She's a calmer version of Hillary Clinton, just like Joe Biden is a calmer version of Donald Trump. The bottom line is neither one of these people need to be in power. And the Democratic Party, if they want to win an election, they better go back to the drawing board, in my particular view. You're trying to cram this lady down our throat, and most people ain't going to eat it. And they don't want to eat Joe Biden, but they'll rather eat Joe Biden because at least they know, kind of predict what he's going to do. We don't know what this lady going to do. You say you know what she's going to do. She's told you what she's going to do. But that don't mean she's going to do it, dog.
Basic health care.
You can take any quote out of context you want to over her entire 70 years of life. It doesn't change the fact that she stands on the side of medicine and healthcare, and Joe Biden stands against it. But they can't have that discussion. So instead, they go with like the personal smears.
They could have invited her on. They didn't want to invite her on.
Yeah.
And by the way,
they still can invite her on. They'll probably invite her on. They may have invited her on in the past. I don't know. Here's my thing, and I'm done with this. I'm not gonna play no more of this. We're done. Cal's defense of Marianne Williamson is unbecoming of a journalist because he's not a journalist. He's a commentary, YouTube analyst, commentator who picked Marianne Williamson. He's not in charge of the Justice Democrats no more, so he don't have the job of picking candidates. So he's going to personally pick the candidates. Yes, she may have a better stance than Joe Biden. Hey, so do Porky Pig. You know, Joe Biden is not a high, he doesn't have a high standard. He doesn't even have a medium standard. So her being better than Joe Biden in certain positions don't mean she should be president. You got to stop this. You got to stop lying, talking about people taking her words out of context, and you probably don't even know what she actually said. Why don't you talk about what she actually said on the show? Crystal Ball. Take her speech and play it to us in its entirety and don't chop it up. Take her quotes from her book, show the book, screenshot the book, and let us see what she actually said. Instead of saying, well, they're taking her out of context. How do you know? Have you read the book? Have you seen the video? Then show it to us. Prove to us that this is out of context. We're not going to believe you just because you said it's out of context. And same thing go with you, Kyle. We're not going to believe when our record shows her as a Hollywood elitist who ran for office in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in California and lost. When she's got a slew of Hollywood elitists, political elitists, people of power, that's her client. And she get paid big dollar. She made billions, I mean not billions, but she became a millionaire off of faith-based education, or off seminars about faith. Millions. But you want us to think she's an outsider who not part of the establishment when she's always been part of the establishment. Her establishment is the biggest clients that she have. It's the establishment that made her rich. And yeah, she probably did some work in charity and things like that. That's what wealthy people do to offset their money. Oprah did some things in charity. Heck, Donald Trump did some things in charity. Now, she may have been in the forefront of helping people with AIDS. Why don't you show some receipts of it? Why don't you do a video showing that? Also, do a video of what she, her interactions with AIDS people. Why don't you do that instead of telling us what she did and expecting us to buy? Show it to us. Heck, Marion, you show it. Where's that video of you helping AIDS patient? Where's the AIDS patients that's going to do the testimony for you? Where's that? That patient that's talking about how you were a blessing to them. And these people, most of these people on this level have given to charities, have done work outside in certain communities. They did it for the sake of their position of power. They want to look like they're fighters for the people. But behind closed doors, they're still working for the establishment. They're still working for these corporations, these big donors. The moment you stepped in the Democratic Party, you became an establishment, because the party in its entirety is an establishment. You have no control. The DNC control. The establishment has the control. They actually control you right now. The moment you decide to run, they got their hands on you. Cal, you know this. You don't control her, she control. The DNC control her. You can advise her, but the DNC can say, don't listen to his advice. Guys, I'm done. Dem Shaddy and the Justice Democrats cast members is going to try to continue to say that it's her time and Joe must go. Joe must go, but it ain't her time. You need to get your butt back in there and find something better, because as of right now, you're going to end up giving us either Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. Well, why don't you just support what we got? It don't work that way. Why don't you get something better? Why don't you get something better? Stop being lazy with your clients, with the people you got running for office. It's ridiculous, folks. I will continue to deal with this Marion issue and prove my point. That, as Cody Rhodes told Solo Sikoa, you ain't ready for the big time. You think you ready, but when you get in that ring and your butt is barely breathing and can barely get out the ring, you'll realize you're not ready. And she ain't ready for this. She ain't ready for dealing with world affairs and dealing with these world leaders and dealing with crises like almost going to World War III. She ain't ready for that. This matter of fact, this ain't her thing. This is not her anointing. This is not God's calling on her, and she knows it. This is a self-calling. She wants to be the president. This is not the higher power leading her to this. Because if it was, it would be something she'd been groomed to do for a while. You are a love guru. Stay in your lane. I'm Bob Brown with the Bob Brown Show. I'll holler at you later. Like, share, hit the notification bell. Share, like. If anything, do that. Go ahead and hit it right now. If you want to contribute to the stream, then right there, buy a brother a cup of coffee tomorrow. You can do that if you want to, but like and share and subscribe. And do not let Kyle keep trying to con you into buying this car with no freaking motor.